Do you feel like you're barely keeping your head above water? That no matter how hard you try, meaningful progress remains out of reach? Heather gets that. She battled an eating disorder for years before seeking help. Now in recovery, Heather is here to tell you that positive change is possible even when it doesn't feel that way. Join her as she shares openly about her struggles and small triumphs. Fair warning though, Heather doesn't hold back. Her candid story may trigger some. But for those wanting honesty, hope, and healing, this is 1% Better with Heather.
Hey there, my little gaffers, and welcome to 1% Better with Heather. Today's episode's entitled, How Are You Really Doing? Yesterday, I had a friend come over for tea who I haven't seen in years. I've known her for like 19, but we, kind of did the life thing. She had kids, I had kids. I got divorced. She was in that friend group. So when you get divorced, you lose a lot of friends. So we actually met up at the local grocery store, start talking. I'm like, hey, let's have tea. So we did. She came over, she looked at me, and she said, how are you really doing? And I burst into tears. No, I'm not gonna lie, burst into tears. And that's the first time someone's ever really asked me, how am I really doing? A lot. It was like a tidal wave, to be honest. This simple little question can open so much healing for so many people. We tend to put on masks in life and especially in recovery. Everything's fine. I'm doing good. Don't really want to talk about more feelings because if you're in group therapy or therapy, you're already talking about your feelings. The last thing I want to do is talk about my feelings. And I kind of just want to keep it moving, so to speak. But her asking me this was so freeing. I'm like, one, I think she actually cares how I am doing. And I just let it all go. I said, like I'm trying. I've been doing this ED recovery for a year and a bit, and I've gained weight, so that's good, but my mental health is still not mentally healthy. And which is true. So dealing with all these thoughts and feelings on a daily basis is exhausting. There are days where I don't even want to get out of bed. There are days like today. I have makeup on, I have a t-shirt on, I'm wearing my pajama pants. That's all I could do today. That's all I could do. And if that's all you could do today, great. You're probably doing better than me. It's lonely going through recovery. It's isolating. You don't think anyone understands. And then out of the blue, someone asks a genuine question. And I got a lot of feelings out. I got a lot of thoughts out yesterday. I know I'm not alone in this. This is why I started this podcast, to have a village so everyone can get it all out and heal. When it was her turn to talk, she said a lot. And I was like, oh, wow. And she talked about her life. And I think, well, maybe I don't have it so bad, right? But everyone's pain is validated. Everyone's going through different things in their life, depending on what season they are of their life. I just know I have a long, long way to go. But I do feel validated right now. I actually feel someone heard me. Now, my parents can ask me how I'm doing. The mailman can ask me how I'm doing. And you always give the surface answer. I'm good. Everything's great. See the smile? Everything's fine. But when you can find a person to really confide in, it It makes a huge difference. And I hope you have a person. I really do. If you want to write me on the info at 1%better.ca website, I can answer if you're alone, because I never want anyone to feel like me ever. But I said something about my recovery, and she said, Heather, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. What have you learned in a year? Because I'm really good at self deprecating. I can like tear myself apart. I don't need help. And I think I'm looking at things the wrong way, that there's so many wins, but like you always look at the failure. You could have won 1,000 Olympic medals and you'll think about the one that you didn't win. Why not turn all that emotion into that one that you didn't win, into happy emotion for all those that you did? So that's where I'm going with today. There will be stumbling blocks on eating disorder recovery. It's different than any other recovery. And addiction's addiction, I'll just say that. So I'm not taking away from anyone's pain. But this addiction, my medicine, and my kryptonite are the exact same thing. And it's hard. It's hard to look at one thing being food, being my medicine, as my kryptonite. And it gets exhausting trying to explain to people why or how somebody can be scared of food. I can't explain it. I can't. I wish I could. But it's a weird feeling, and trying to overcome that is going to take years and years. And there will be stumbles. There will be. There's nobody who's gone through eating disorder recovery who has not fallen or stumbled or got sent back to go. And that's okay. It's how long we stand at the start point again, right? So if we just pick ourselves up and keep going, it gets a little bit easier. You know, mistakes are life lessons. They are tools to help us get through life. That's how we learn. No baby has come out of the gate and just walked. They crawl, they fall, they face plant, they get back up. And having a village right there to encourage that baby is important, right? So that's how I look at myself now. Maybe I'm just like a 5'10" baby. I just need more encouragement right now than I have in the last couple of months. I don't know if it's because it's February and January and people get kind of depressed during this season. I understand why, because I'm right there with them. I also live in Vancouver, where it is cloudy and rainy and snowy and not a fun place to live at this point. So weather makes a huge difference. I'm very much looking forward to spring, where I feel new and capable of seizing the day. But some days are for laying in bed and just recharging. And that's okay. That's how I look at it now. I call it recharging because that's exactly what I need. We fight a battle 24/7. And I don't think we give ourselves enough credit for fighting the battle because it's exhausting. So no one else could run a marathon 24/7 and not fall eventually. So I hope you're doing well. And I hope you give yourself a little bit of grace today. 1% better every day. Take care of you.
That's all for this episode of 1% Better. To continue the conversation, head over to our website at www.1percentbetter.ca, where you can access more stories and resources. We'd also love it if you subscribed and left us a review on your favorite podcast platform. And remember, friends, progress takes patience, perspective, and sometimes a little help from people who get it. So be kind to yourself and others as we work to get 1% better every day. We'll see you back here next week.